Good day. This is Len Lazarick with MarylandReporter.com. We're here today with Comptroller Peter Franchot. We're in the conference room in his office in the Treasury Building. Thanks for being with us today.
Delighted to have you here, Len. William Donald Schaefer, Louis Goldstein held court here for many years, and now I'm lucky enough to be the comptroller.
I interviewed William Donald Schaefer in this room in his re-election bid, which you actually defeated him in the primary. Everyone's great surprise, including your mother's.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say that, and thank you. But it looked a lot different then, but we've changed it a little. But I always salute William Donald because he was a huge figure in Maryland politics. And we're going to announce in April that we're going to have a statewide award ceremony where every jurisdiction is going to have someone nominated for the William Donald Schaefer Helping People Award, and we're going to go to each of the jurisdictions and give it to someone who represents the values and ideals of William Donald Schaefer.
Good.
Yeah, well, we're excited about that.
We're here because you've taken such a vocal stand on taxes, and particularly the gasoline tax hike that's been proposed by a Blue Ribbon Commission, and now by Governor O'Malley in the form of a sales tax on gasoline. You know we need the infrastructure, right? Why? Well, what's the problem with the tax?
Yeah, my problem with that is, much as I care about the trust fund budget, I'm more interested in what's going on in the economy in Maryland. And we have some real weaknesses out there, as you know. Employment can go either way. Housing prices still are very shaky. And consumer confidence, which is most important to me, is down quite a bit. And 70% of our economy, Len, in Maryland is attributable to consumer spending. And there's an old saying that when the price of gas goes up, people go and buy less pizza, and they eat out less because they have less discretionary money. So the idea of combining the sales tax on the gas tax, the two most regressive taxes imaginable, I think will have a direct negative impact on Maryland's very feeble economic recovery. So I'm not saying never have a gas tax increase. I'm just saying don't have it now, because this is a particularly vulnerable time for the economy.
And you've been saying this consistently about almost any tax increase over the last 2-3 years, right?
Correct. I think when you have a kind of economic downturn that we have, the idea that we're going to get out of it by reaching into consumer pockets and taking money out via the gas tax or income tax increases or flush tax or whatever it is that's on the table, understand 70% of our economy, as I said, is consumer driven. I look at the data every day. This is not rocket science. I just happen to get a lot of economic information. When taxes are raised, particularly on the middle class, in tough economic times, it dampens the recovery. And so I hope people that are urging all of these taxes, and I guess the gas taxes become symbolic of everything, will realize that it's going to have.
But you're opposed to the other taxes too, and you know, like limiting the exemptions and deductions for people who make more than $100,000 a year. But if you don't raise taxes, aren't you going to have to cut the budget more?
Well, my concern, as I said, is with the economy, the real economy, the jobs that people have, the housing prices that people have, the consumer confidence situation. God bless the legislature and the governor to be worried about the state budget, but the biggest priority for me is what's going on out there in the economy. What takes real courage, in my mind, is not raising taxes on the middle class. That's easy. Just vote someone else's money. What about putting in the hard work to make sure that the spending we've got in Maryland is as efficient as people expect it to be? I sometimes compare the state to a family that's got real spending problems. They have bad habits. They waste a lot of money. Then they suddenly win the lottery. They get $1 million. Well, within a year or 2 years, they blow right through that because they have bad habits. I mean, Maryland 4 years ago did just what we're doing now. They focused on the budget, so we're going to raise $1.5 billion through new taxes and gambling. And they announced with great headlines afterwards, mission accomplished after the special session. Well, we're exactly back where we were before they raised taxes then, and they've got the same message, which is that we have to make the tough, courageous votes. I mean, give me a break. This is a tough time for people. Reaching into their pockets is just a really bad idea economically.
What people say about you, and I sometimes think, and people must say to you, is this the same Peter Franchot that was in the legislature for 20 years and there was no tax that Peter Franchot wouldn't vote for? I mean, well, when did the conversion come? Was there a road to Damascus for you?
It definitely goes with the job. I've been comptroller for 5 years, and I'm exposed to not just the Annapolis situation, but I'm exposed to everybody out in the state. And as I said, the real economy is different from fixing the budget, which is what my responsibility was for 20 years on the Appropriations Committee. And I represented a very liberal area in Montgomery County. I enjoyed it.
Sometimes known as the People's Republic of Tacoma Park, right?
Right, and it was a different time. We've had these really difficult economic days in the last 4 years. So yeah, I've changed, but I think my message still has a progressive base to it, which is I want government services. We need government services. We need to improve, in fact, the delivery of them. People say, well, what are you in favor of? I said, I'm in favor of spending money efficiently. We do it in our agency with e-filing. I've advocated that school maintenance be expanded around the state so that we don't have to build brand new, shiny, expensive schools all the time. We can continue the useful life of what we have. On Medicaid, we could save hundreds of millions of dollars, and the governor brought it up today at the Board of Public Works. Deliver better health care for a lot less money if we use technology and we use reform and we roll up our sleeves and do the hard work of managing the taxpayers' money rather than just, you know, every time we have a deficit, raise taxes. That is not going to work, and in my opinion. And so I've got a different perspective.
You've been on a crusade for financial literacy, and one of your arguments would actually be that not only do people not understand the state budget maybe, but they don't understand their own budgets and what's going on. Is this a legitimate thing for the controller to be engaged in telling schools what they ought to be teaching?
Yes, in my opinion, because I'm the chief fiscal officer, and I happen to think that kids are not, we talk a lot about obesity and weight. Kids are not physically
yeah,
they're not physically fit, so we're all like, you got to get out and exercise. And I think the president's wife, the first lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, does a great job telling people, get up and take their health seriously and get fit in a physical sense. I'm adding to that fiscal. Get yourself fit fiscally, because if you don't have control over your finances, you're never going to have a chance at prosperity and wealth and real happiness and being able to control your own destiny. So I think financial literacy for young people is an absolute priority, and it's entirely appropriate for the comptroller to advocate.
On a different topic, it seemed that for several years you and Governor O'Malley had patched up your differences, but in the last couple of months there have been some remarks exchanged that indicate that you're having a bit of a rough patch here, and he accused you of being the Democratic version of Mitt Romney, and you suggested he was pursuing his national ambitions. Should people be concerned that you and the governor are having a little rough patch in the relationship, or?
No, I think people ought to be happy that there's a check and balance on the Board of Public Works. I think that's a brilliant system we have where I'm independently elected, my vote is equal to the governor's, and I think it protects the taxpayers and it's good. I like the governor. I get along fine with him professionally. He may regret his comments at me last week. That's fine. I'm more than happy to put it behind us.
Okay. And just to close out, you brought in some figures with you. We have, less than a minute left. And these figures are kind of disturbing. They show negative growth in hourly wages for Maryland workers compared to very positive growth in Virginia and Pennsylvania. What does that mean to you?
And also the District of Columbia. In other words, Virginia is number 5 in the country according to the Department of Labor, and District of Columbia is number 7. We're number 48. And what it means is that we have a really tough economy out there, and Marylanders may be working, but they're getting paid less. And you see it reflected in the consumer confidence, and you see it reflected in the my concern about putting regressive taxes on top of these people, because what it does is it rather than expanding the economic recovery, these new taxes will shrink it because it adds to this situation. It stunned me that Maryland is number 48th in the country as far as wage growth. And but it wouldn't surprise average Marylanders because they know they're working hard and going backwards.
Well, thanks very much for being with us today, Comptroller Peter Franchot. And this is Len Lazarick for MarylandReporter.com.